Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. Now, you see the thumbnail. Let's just have this discussion. It's been a topic for many months now. Is Daniel Jones going to be the future quarterback of the New York Giants? Is he going to be a tagged quarterback for the New York Giants? Are the Giants going to let him walk? Just looking at the options and the discussions and the arguments that are going on all the time, every day, about the New York Giants quarterback position, I feel like it's just good to see what everyone is talking about. And hopefully, we just throw a lot of things out there so that people can come to their own conclusion of what they think. Because at the end of the day, it's still about thoughts, opinions, and the ideas that we have in our own head for the New York Giants. So, again, right now, today, the options for quarterback for the New York Giants are Daniel Jones, whether that be a tag or re-signing, Tyrod Taylor, because he's already under contract, the only quarterback that's under contract, and then also the mystery person. Now, the mystery person can be a QB free agent currently in the NFL. It could be a rookie that is drafted. But those are the options that you have for this mystery person, and we're going to get into that too. So first, let's talk about Daniel Jones. Now, Daniel Jones arguably had a good season last year for Daniel Jones's standards. People will say, 15 throwing touchdowns, but then you also want to add in the 7 rushing touchdowns. So 22 total touchdowns, 3,200 yards through the air, 700 on the ground. Roughly gives you just under, 4,000 yards for the season of total offense from Daniel Jones, 4,000 total yards. And the next argument is going to be whether or not that warrants $45 million, the going rate for a franchise quarterback. Now, that's also the point in this discussion is the money, whether it's 30, 35, 40, $45 million. We really don't know what that number is going to be yet because nothing has been released officially from either camp. We've had rumors. We've had people respond to leaks. I responded to leaks as well. Some things were recanted. Some things were left back there. Some things were pretty much doubled down on. But even on the double down, it was a key word in that double down was believe. We now do believe that Daniel Jones is looking for $45 million. Again, nothing is concrete. But again, depending on your sources, some sources hold more weight than others. Some of them, not at all, especially when you're talking about the New York Giants community. So again, for me, and I've let this be known a few times in a few different videos, where I feel and where I'm at as far as this Daniel Jones conversation. I am for Daniel Jones. Again, I am for Daniel Jones. I think that he will make even more improvements going into next year because the system is the same, the coaching is the same, and we assume that Joe Shane will make some moves to make this team and this roster better in all of these different aspects. Wide receiver being one of them, but also the interior offensive line, which also helps a quarterback out a lot, and everybody else on the team, running backs, wide receivers. Offensive line is where everything starts. The trenches is where you win your football games. So now for me, again, I believe that, and this is just a belief, hope, and faith, that I think the coaching will improve Daniel Jones's ability to make more plays, to increase on his stats, and ultimately to throw for more touchdowns, and overall the team be better. Now, that's my thoughts on Daniel Jones. Tyrod Taylor is another quarterback who's actually the only quarterback that has a contract right now today going into 2023. Now, Tyrod Taylor was brought in as a great backup option for Daniel Jones. Even last year, I was thinking about an open competition between Tyrod Taylor and Daniel Jones because I was that low on Daniel Jones. But I said, with my own eyes, what I've seen in the games, not outside of just the statistical value, I saw better pocket awareness. I saw more accuracy. I saw more anticipation. Now, people will say that, who cares about anticipation when he's only reading half the field? Well, why is he only reading half the field? Some people will say it's because of his limitations. Others will tell you that's because the offensive line and the coaching staff, or the coaching staff didn't trust that the offensive line can pretty much give Daniel Jones the time to be more than a half-read quarterback, like a lot of people say. So, and also a one-read quarterback, but only breaking down half of the field. My apologies. So again, you got an argument for both sides. If the offensive line play increases, does Daniel Jones play or ability increase? So people can argue either for or against that. Now, when Tyrod Taylor comes along, you think about this for Tyrod Taylor. And again, I've been a Tyrod Taylor fan since Virginia Tech. I liked him at Baltimore. The man won a game in Buffalo, won a playoff game in Buffalo, ended their streak of playoff wins or playoff losses or playoff appearances without a win. And I think that Tyrod Taylor is a valuable backup quarterback. Now, to say that I'm comfortable with Tyrod Taylor being the number one, I don't like that option more than I like Daniel Jones being on the team. I just don't. That's just me being honest. People can argue that too. This is just my point. So when I'm looking at Daniel Jones and when I'm looking at Tyrod Taylor, I'm taking Daniel Jones 10 times out of 10 in the situation. Now, the factor is the money again. And Tyrod Taylor, I believe, is only making, $6 to $7 million next year. If it's even that, I will go ahead and post those stats in here. And that's something that's already on the books. You can't cut him and save money. It's pretty much a wash. So Tyrod Taylor will be on the squad in 2023. Who's going to be on the squad with him? Okay. So now let's get to these, to the mystery man quarterback that everybody likes to talk about. So in some cases, I do get answers when I ask people, who is this quarterback that you're talking about? But in most cases, I don't get. I hear that, any option can give you the same type of production that Daniel Jones can give you. And I have to argue with people about that too, because if you say that, you can get a rookie, and if you trust that Brian Daboll is who he say he is and Kafka is who he say he is, they should be able to take anybody and get that type of production, or get the same production that Daniel Jones was providing. Okay, so then I ask again, right now, today, with the New York Giants and the current situation that they're in, who is that person? So now let's look at this free agency list, because we already know that the top 4 quarterbacks in the draft, no particular order. You have Stroud, you got Young, you have Levis, you have Richardson. Some people might even throw Tanner McKee in there. The New York Giants are probably not going to be in a position for any one of those quarterbacks. Or if we were to put ourselves in position, we would have to give up draft capital in order to do so. Now, trading up from 25 to the top 10 is one thing. If one of these quarterbacks happen to fall into the teens, that draft capital is a little bit more manageable. But okay, again, this is a mystery. We don't know who that person is going to be. And by the time we figure out who that person is going to be, Daniel Jones is probably either already signed or walking by that time. We're talking free agency is in another week and a half. The draft is at the end of April. So let's just look at these names on the free agency list for these quarterbacks and just some of the market value that people are looking at. And I'm looking at spotrec.com right now. A lot of the times the market value is not spot on, but we're just going to use it as a reference point. So right now, some of the top QBs, free agent QBs, are going to be Daniel Jones himself, Geno Smith, Derek Carr, Jacoby Brissett, Andy Dalton's there, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, which a lot of people still believe he might get tagged and trade, Jimmy Garoppolo, Taylor Heineke, Cooper Rush, Sam Darnold. These are the names that you're talking about as far as who's going to give you the same amount of production as Daniel Jones in this offense and with this team and with these weapons behind this offensive line. Because for some reason, if you sign Daniel Jones, you better hit on every draft pick. You better hit on every draft pick like If we don't get Daniel Jones, if we don't keep Daniel Jones, we better hit on every draft pick. You're preaching to the choir. The draft is highly important. So just think about these quarterbacks. Okay, so as far as yards go, you got Geno Smith at the top of the list, 4,282 yards. What he had 30 passing touchdowns. So Geno Smith had a fantastic year last year. But how many teams are going to be trying to get Geno Smith on their team? And we could think about teams. You could think about possibly a team like the Texans maybe taking a chance, but they have high draft capital, so they're probably not going to be in the Geno Smith market. Colts are another one, but they're also high draft picks. Carolina, high draft pick. You just look down the list. Oakland Raiders, high draft pick. Seattle might just stick with Geno Smith as a bridge. I saw market value is something crazy, and I'll just pull it up right now, see what the market value is for Geno Smith. Right now, calculated market value is a 2-year contract, just under $80 million, with $39.3 million averaged a year. So that's for Geno Smith. So you're talking $40 million for Geno Smith for 2 years. Obviously, guaranteed money and all that stuff factors in, but you're still looking at a contract possibly worth, in guaranteed money, probably about $60 million. If they're giving him an $80 million contract, maybe 50 of that is guaranteed. So you're looking at roughly a cap hit of $25 million a year, depending on the cap hit. And again, this is him accepting that or him looking to go somewhere else. So that's Geno Smith, right? And like I said, Geno Smith, again, contract without all the special cap kind of movement, you're looking at possibly 35 upwards 35, 36, just under $40 million a year if you want to pay for Geno Smith. Okay. Next, you're going to look at Derek Carr. Now, Derek Carr has already been rumored, had a visit with the Jets. Looked like he might be a fit for the Jets. And he's asking for $35 million. And that's, quote, because, what people are talking about. So Derek Carr is another guy. Then you have, a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, Jimmy Garoppolo. Does Jimmy Garoppolo end up where? Now, the 49ers already said that they don't plan on bringing back Jimmy Garoppolo at all, ever, never. So Jimmy Garoppolo is a viable option, for the New York Giants as well, with a market value for Jimmy Garoppolo being a 4-year contract, $140 million, $35 million a year. So now you're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo with the New York Giants, with Brian Daboll. Again, not as athletic as Daniel Jones, but as far as a passer, you can say that he's a better passer of the ball, but we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo in big games, and you can go either way with Jimmy Garoppolo. But again, here's another option. Jimmy Garoppolo, you see his numbers here. Outside of that, I've heard names like Jacoby Brissett. I've heard names like Marcus Mariota. And I don't like the name of Jacoby Brissett because I don't think the skill set falls into what kind of offense Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll are trying to run. Marcus Mariota, I laughed at that name too, but the more I think about Marcus Mariota, I think the skill set matches. I think the ability matches more, than a Jacoby Brissett. But again, where is Marcus Mariota as far as, is he 1 foot out the door? Last year in Atlanta, had a tough year. They decided to go with the rookie towards the end. So do you want to take Marcus Mariota, over Daniel Jones to save some money and to possibly, put yourself in position for a 2024 draft where you're into another unknown with that crop of quarterbacks, and you're picking, between that, possibly a top 10 if you think New York Giants are going to take this severe step back and be bad enough to be picking in the top 10. So again, these are just some of the options, and when you look at some of these options, I understand that money matters, but for me, in my head, I'm thinking about Daniel Jones, and I'm thinking about the locker room, and I'm thinking about some of the players that are going to be coming back. And so say, we can't do anything with Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley walks. And now, instead of Daniel Jones coming back, you walk into that locker room and, you know what? Marcus Mariota, I believe Marcus Mariota can do some things, help us win some games, and, put us in a position where, we're still rebuilding And you guys, Marcus Mariota is a good step in. I understand you guys like Daniel Jones. I understand you guys might think that, he can do a couple things, but, we believe in Marcus Mariota, and we can win with Marcus Mariota, because that's what they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you whoever they pick, if it's not Daniel Jones, that they can win with this person. Now, whether you as a fan believe that they can win or not win with Marcus Mariota, that's up to you. Or if you think that, Daniel Jones, whatever money we're going to pay him, it's just way more weapons to put around Marcus Mariota. If you're only paying him, let's say $8 million to $12 million a year, or for 1 year. But you have now you have enough room to sign these free agents to put these weapons around Marcus Mariota, or to put a dominant center in front of Marcus Mariota. That's a tough sell to me. That's a tough sell to me to that locker room. And again, we have to think about all this stuff when you're talking about someone's job, and when you're talking about a team, and you're talking about building and trying to be respectful to the effort that these guys put in. So I'm just thinking about what everybody else is thinking about. Because again, I lean 60-40. I'm leaning more towards Daniel Jones being the quarterback of the New York Giants, but I lean even harder when I'm thinking about what other options there are. And like I said, people will tell you, because that's what other options out there? You're looking at them. I just put them up there. Those are the options. Because you can tell me a quarterback, you can tell me Hendon Hooker, but you can't guarantee that Hendon Hooker is going to be there. You can tell me Anthony Richardson, but there's no guarantee that Anthony Richardson is going to be it. You can tell me next year we're going to be so bad that we'll be picking in the top 10, and we could possibly be in line to get one of those guys in next year's quarterback class. Caleb Williams, Drake May, guys like that, Cam Ward. Yeah, these are all things that could happen, but when people talk about probabilities, what are the real chances of you being in a position to get one of those guys? And then I think about the GM and the coaches. Okay, so now, because we understand what a rebuild looks like, we kind of understand what a rebuild looks like, I think that when Joe Schoen decided not to give Daniel Jones the 5th-year option, he was pretty much, creating a plan for life without Daniel Jones for the New York Giants. And then the season happens, good things happen, you win games, you go to the playoffs, you win the playoff games, and you get smoked in the divisional round. You also, and people like to put this point out too, you also only won one game in the division. And there's a lot of reasons why you only won one game in the division. Again, this is a team sport, ultimate team sport. And as far as I know, Daniel Jones doesn't play defense. And when I look at some of these conference games, people were putting up points, a lot of points. Then on the back end, like I said, Dexter Lawrence can't play offense. So you look at, and our offense in some cases didn't do enough. So there's arguments, and that's why it's such a passionate debate, because there's arguments all the way around the board. There's arguments all the way around the board to either be for Daniel Jones, or not for Daniel Jones, to be for Joe Schoen, not for Joe Schoen, because people cheered when the 5th-year option didn't get picked up. They said, yes, a GM that finally knows what's going on. He sees that Daniel Jones isn't worth that 5th-year option, and he's ready. And then what happens? You have a season where, even though you don't want to give credit to the quarterback for contributing to the wins in the season, videos going on about that as well. Why does the GM even want to think about re-signing Daniel Jones? Think about that. Why the same GM that didn't pick up the 5th-year option claims that he wants Daniel Jones to be a part of the team? And it could be all lip service. It could all be lip service. He could just be saying that because it's the right thing to do. And, ultimately, you make yourself look like the good guy. So that way, if Daniel Jones, doesn't want to sign here, whether it's about the money, the years, or anything like that, you tried to get this man a contract. You offered him a contract. He didn't want it. And now he's gone, and then, the GM can wash his hands of it, because it's not like you didn't offer. You're not the GM that didn't offer Daniel Jones a deal. And I think that's smart on Joe Schoen's in, because again, when you're playing chess, not checkers, you have to think about how things look, how things will map up, and ultimately every move is calculated. It's calculated. So again, we have some time, man. We will find out what's going to go on, with this decision. Hopefully the debates can be a little bit more peaceful in the spaces. Again, things get out of hand. People are passionate, fans are passionate. People have opinions, people have narratives, people have a lot of things, and you're entitled to do so. But please keep it respectful in these spaces. Again, I'm guilty of yelling. People are guilty of yelling at me too. So it is what it is. But again, this is a debate. This is something between fans, especially New York Giants fans, that you really can't wait for this thing to play out. That way you can hopefully move on. But the way things are going, even once this decision is made, I don't know if it's going to be a clean break after that. Because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people care more about being right than they do about caring about, the team or rooting for their team or anything like that. It's a lot of ego in some of these debates. Again, I prepared myself for life without Daniel Jones being a New York Giant. I prepared for myself for if Daniel Jones comes back. So for me, again, I am leaning, got to be honest, I'm leaning towards bringing Daniel Jones back, but it's not going to break my world if Daniel Jones does not come back. Because again, when you're talking about straight on stats, 15 touchdowns is not good enough, no matter what you're paying the guy. The New York Giants deserve better than that. We've been bad for so long. The first time we get a little bit of glimmer of hope, get a playoff win, and now you want to blow the whole thing up. People are passionate about that. Some people don't want to let it go. But again, if you're telling me to let something go, you better have something else that you're going to replace it with. You know what I mean? If I'm going to give you my money, you better give me something back in return, right? So just don't tell me that Daniel Jones can be replaced by a question mark. I need to know who that question mark is, in all honesty. And actually, it doesn't even matter for me because I'm not the GM. It's about what Joe Schoen thinks, what Brian Dable thinks. Hopefully they don't care. Almost slipped up. Hopefully they don't care what Mara thinks. Because guess what? You already have your job, and at the end of the day, Mara can't be fired. You can't. So stick with what you believe in, Joe Schoen. If Daniel Jones is a guy, sign him. If he's not the guy, let him go or tag him, trade him, get something for him, because compensation will always help with a team with so many holes in it. But again, I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. I'm going to wrap it up here. This is just a Let's Talk. Put out some graphics so you guys can see exactly, what I see. And not saying that you have to agree with what I'm saying, but just I'm thinking about what everybody's saying. And like I said, if anybody's good enough to win games with the Giants, or can give you the same production as Daniel Jones, just let me know who that person is and let me know how we're going to get them or when we're going to get them, because I like seeing my Giants win, whether it's now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, or however long. I like to see my team win every Sunday. That's what we pay our money for. That's what we, get up and rep our teams, wear our team logo stuff, or the people that have season tickets do that. The people that show up to all the home games, how they do that. License plate guy, if you're flying around the country going to all these games as well, you deserve to see a good product on the field. And regardless of what we think as fans, we all deserve to see a good product on the field. And there's also more than one way to build this program up. There's a lot of examples out there. Sometimes a quarterback just isn't there. And then you have to deal with what you got to deal with. And as far as franchising these elite quarterbacks, there's only a handful of elite franchise quarterbacks out there. A lot of these other teams are dealing with game managers, and if you think that Daniel Jones is a game manager, maybe we just need to deal with a game manager for the foreseeable future. But again, I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.